Eens even zien wat we doen. Karakter Jonathan Reed. Ja, wacht een kindjes. Wat dit? Dus als je switcht krijg je meer of zo. Welkom. Nu gaan we vandaag. De 5.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
We'll have London personal questions. Hints, die kan man doen. Dus eerst hier door.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
How are things here?
Oh,
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them? Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
No, new hint.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Nu hebben we die vragen. Dan deze nog niet. Was dat die 5 voor?
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Kan die killen? Sommige kan het wel, hele zo, nog meer. Die van de loop gesproken niet.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Dat is wel die jonge
Do we
vent.
know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett's, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. A And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
You have nothing to prove. You attempted to improvise.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Johnson.
Je zit te stoken, jongen. Wat
Nurse
mongo.
Brannigan's opinion is the only one I listen to.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does
Gaan we
not
nog
lack
praten?
talent.
Zei dat hij in de game zit.
It just lacks hope.
Tandvol, we hebben hier geen hint over. Moeten we die doen?
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Mongol!
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
We hebben het ook
Goodbye,
gehad.
nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Dus zo.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable, and your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Hier is lekker half dood, dus zo. Waar moet ik heen? Dat is een trap of zo. Amongo. Dus kan ik hier niet in.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin.
The fuck is dit?
William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night.
Hij is Carlos Stone, nee.
I have so much time now.
Vraag af, is mijn mic überhaupt aan? Dan gaan we even checken. We zitten in een party. Kijk of mijn mic aanstaat. Mijn mic staat aan. Kijk, er staat... Kan niet... Mijn mic staat als het goed is gewoon aan. We moeten gaan pitten blijkbaar, maar dat heb ik niet zoveel zin in. Maar ik kan ook hierheen, dus... Oh, dat is hier in het door van net. Nee, weet niet. Wat moeten we doen? Moeten we iets up of zo? Oh, we kunnen heel veel uppen. Maar die is 1000 punten. Deze. Ook. Deze. 200. Ja. Nou, kunnen we... Ah, dit boeit me niet. 1. En dat is 2. Oh, no. Confirm. Zit. Oh. Moeten we die lui gaan uitmoorden of zo? Ik zit er geen reet van.
I'm to stay here until my research is complete. I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Hurry now, Doctor. It's freezing here.
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse.
Yes, Doctor?
Exactly how bad is the supply situation here at Pembroke?
It really depends. Dr. Swansea deftly works his society contacts for monies, but with the quarantine, well, we're in God's hands.
Please, could you point me in the direction of the morgue again?
It's the large boarded up building behind the
Ik ga even kappen met de stream, dat ik toch nu al mee, maar ik ben later terug.